Hag Sameach. My name is Dahlia, and last semester I studied in Israel. It was truly the most inspiring and impactful 4 years of my life. The program Heller High was not only a high school in Israel, but what felt to me more like an Israeli immersive experience. My class and I were exposed to every perspective on the two-state solution, Israel-Palestinian conflict, and Reform Judaism. We traveled all around the state, from the Galilee to the Negev, while learning about each location's historical significance to the Jewish community. The most memorable trips we took were the C2C hike, or Yom Liyam, and Gadna, the 4-day IDF preparatory school. During Yom Liyam, we trekked through forests, between cliffs, and across flatlands, starting from the Galilee and ending with a swim in the Mediterranean. The hike was meant to further our physical relationship with Israel. This was specifically impactful for me, as I am not a particularly spiritual person, and a substantial part of my Jewish identity is about heritage. The last day of the hike, we walked through a narrow rocky path. After a while, we had to squeeze in between two boulders, which opened into a breathtaking valley, accompanied by a clear stream, thin, with cows walking along its edge. Our guide told us to envision we were traveling from Egypt like our ancestors did so long ago, and had entered Israel to find this beautiful terrain welcoming us. This experience was very impressionable, as I constantly struggled to feel connected to religion. Another memorable excursion was Gadna. Israeli citizens who participate in the IDF attend Gadna for introductory military courses such as gun safety and etiquette. I had always found guns interesting, as they can be as small as 6 inches long and still wield such power and provoke such controversy. We spent a full day learning about why guns are a necessity in Israel and how the IDF trains its soldiers not to abuse the power of a machine that seals the fate of so many. When it actually came time to shoot the M16, I wasn't nervous. I understood the purpose of the device was only for defense. I felt in control, not just of the gun, but of my entire self. I was focused and calm, not dangerous and overwhelmed as my peers and I had feared. In the United States, the IDF receives a lot of bad press, frequently due to what is viewed as an unnecessary amount of violence or weaponry, sometimes unrightfully so. Historically, Israel has only activated its army out of provocation. Now, having experienced Gadna, shooting at M16, and living casually while soldiers with massive guns walk around freely, I feel as though I have a clearer perspective. In and out of Gadna, the class and I learned extensively about the expectations and obligations of IDF soldiers, and I've come to respect them more than anything for the pride and honor they take in serving their country. Yet another life-changing experience was having the privilege to participate in a tour service with Women of the Wall. I had then been following their work in promoting women's rights at the Western Wall for a year. Did you know that up until a court ruling last year, women were not permitted to possess a Torah at the Kotel? I know what you're thinking. That's insane. One of the organization's few male members was beaten before the court ruling was passed for handing a Torah from the men's to the women's side of the partition at the wall. He was quoted in an article in the Times of Israel, which I feel accurately explains my sentiment surrounding the subject. He said that he supports Women of the Wall, and I quote, "to support the right of women to pray at the Kotel as a group of committed Jews, regardless of their affliction. I have a daughter," he said, "but no one should be able to tell another Jew where and how they should pray." Needless to say, I was ecstatic when I heard we would get the opportunity to participate in the service. My peers and I had been warned about the Haredi protesters who didn't believe women should have the same rights as men at the Kotel, but I hadn't anticipated the impact it would have on me. What struck me the hardest were the young girls who covered their innocent faces with scarves while they attempted to drown out our service with deafening shrieks. It hurt to see these girls being impacted and ingrained with such hate. Beyond religion, it stunned me how many women were against their own rights. Did they not want to have the same connection with God as their male counterparts? How could they accept the reality that they couldn't chant the Torah they swore by? Jews are born into adversity as it is, so one would assume we would look past our differences and support each other. As naive as it may sound, it was the unrealistic reality I had hoped for. However, the disappointment I felt towards my own people shifted to pride as I became empowered by the members of the Women of the Wall, who met their opposers with such dignity and grace. Although even to this day I still haven't fully processed the event, I was immediately grateful that Heller High had taken us on such an important and memorable trip. When I tell people I went to Israel for a semester, they assume it was to delve deeper into Judaism and my spirituality. But my intent was more to familiarize myself with Israel as a nation and culture. That is not to say, however, that I didn't learn anything about the religious part of my ancestors' history and my religious present. Firstly, I learned in many ways that the Reform community does not have a good reputation in Israel. One of my secular Jewish Israeli friends on the trip told me quite bluntly that Reform Judaism has no place in Israel. I read passages in Jewish history class that deemed Reform Judaism in the diaspora simply a poor proxy for a real, authentic Orthodox Judaism. The Israeli rabbinate won't even officiate Reform weddings. I ended up writing a paper for my Jewish studies class exclaiming in apparent frustration that all Jews need to support Israel at least as a refuge for all Jewish people as well as each other in the name of our shared ancestry. And this conclusion is how I came to realize my place in our spiritually diverse community. My trip to Israel helped me understand that my Jewish identity, at least for now, means many things. It means activism, it means equality, and it means the freedom to be religious the way I feel most comfortable. Lastly, I would like to thank Rabbi Molly and Rabbi Lip for helping support my trip and encouraging me to go. I wish you all a meaningful fast.